Cryogonal was once overpowered in Generation 7, but not for the reasons you might think. Ordinarily, Cryogonal is not an amazing Pokemon, usually hanging out around the NU and PU tiers in Smogon's tiering system. Pokemon are organized into tiers based on how often they're used, that way you can use your favorites against Pokemon of a similar power level. Competitive singles Pokemon is played on online simulators like Pokemon Showdown, the main reason being the ease of access. You avoid competitive Pokemon's biggest barrier to entry because you don't need to EV train or grind IVs or hack your Pokemon. You can build teams with Pokemon you theoretically have access to. In early Gen 7, and in particular Gen 7 NU, Aurora Veil strategies were really popular. By combining Reflect and Light Screen into one move, you could form a deadly offensive core. A lot of Veil setters are fast, like Cryogonal or Alolan Sandslash, which makes Taunt difficult to use. It's not easy to simply defog away the Veil, because most Veil users are Ice-type Pokemon and most defoggers are Flying-type Pokemon, so you would risk dying while trying to defog. On top of that, if you waste a turn defogging on a Pokemon using a setup move, they can set up untouched. Brick Break is really the only option, but it's a wasted move versus non-Veil teams. Basically, Veil teams were extremely good. But why Cryogonal? A lot of Pokemon get Veil, and a lot of Pokemon are a lot better than Cryogonal. What could possibly make Cryogonal good? Also, if you aren't already, make sure to subscribe, it's free and helps out the channel a lot. We're on the road to 100k subscribers and we're almost there. Most of Cryogonal's success was in the NU tier, where Veil was at its most controversial. It also saw usage in the RU tier. Cryo was fast to avoid being taunted, but more importantly, it got Veil, Reflect, and Light Screen. At the time, these effects stacked on top of each other, meaning you could reduce your opponent's damage output to 25% by setting up Veil and Reflect or Light Screen. This is huge. The most powerful Pokemon in the tier taking 25% damage is game-breaking, and strategies like Toxic don't work because when you're only taking 25% damage, you can easily use the move Substitute. All you had to do was get your layers up, and you could click the easy button and sweep with whatever Pokemon you want. In the NU tier, for example, you had Pokemon like Quiver Dance Vivillon and Shell Smash Barbaracle. Only Roar could have a chance, but also you can merely get attacked while roaring, and after enough times you'll just faint. Every time teams try to adapt to Veil, Veil teams can just adapt back, because guess what? Taking 25% or even 50% of your normal damage gives you a lot of flexibility. Unfortunately, or fortunately depending on how you look at it, it turns out that Veil, Reflect, and Light Screen don't actually stack together. It was an oversight on Pokemon Showdown. Pokemon Showdown initially did not know that. Veils and Reflect and Light Screen can be up at the same time, but it doesn't add anything extra. So briefly, before Pokemon Showdown was patched, Cryogonal was a really good Pokemon because of the ability to stack the legendary triple screens. Unfortunately, without the stacking, there's not much of a good reason to use Cryogonal. You'd be better off using a Pokemon like Slush Rush Alolan Sandslash, which is faster and more threatening overall. After that, Cryogonal would continue to drop in relevancy, where it ended Gen 7 in the PU tier. Incidentally, Veil would end up getting banned in as high up as the RU tier, but for reasons mostly unrelated to Cryogonal. Fundamentally, even without stacking, Aurora Veil was an amazing move. Pokemon Showdown for the most part is incredibly reliable, but every once in a while something like this happens before it gets fixed.